Hi British folk, I'm Linda Evangelista and today I'm going to take you through my life in looks. Wow, this is my first
Year 1990. New York's morning traffic is slowly waking up, but one woman is already stage ready. Hair, flawless. Walk, iconic. Vibe, money. And in the fashion world of that era, money practically revolved around her. I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day. With one line, she summed up an entire era. A supermodel whose face and voice ruled the industry. But years later, the same woman started avoiding mirrors. Her face, once plastered on million-dollar campaigns, suddenly became unrecognizable. One simple cosmetic procedure changed everything. This is the story of Linda Evangelista, a tale not just about beauty, but about power, shame, confession, and one hell of a second act. Linda Evangelista was born in Windsor, Canada, but trust me, she was never a small-town story. Italian roots, rebellious spirit. The second she stepped on a runway, jaws dropped. And then she cut her hair. Yes, a haircut. One snip that changed her career and fashion forever. Short hair, fierce gaze, flawless pose. She even gave her hairstylist attitude at first, but within 24 hours, Chanel, Versace, Valentino, all lined up for her. Is Linda walking this show? If yes, then we're in. That was the backstage rule. If Linda wasn't on the runway, a fashion show almost felt canceled. The 1990s were the golden era of supermodels, and Linda, she was the gold. Naomi, Cindy, Christy, Claudia, when they walked together, eyes still drifted to Linda. Because she didn't just walk, she ruled. Her face was everywhere, Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, and her now iconic line cemented her legacy. I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000. It wasn't arrogance. It was the anthem of an era. Supermodels weren't just pretty girls anymore. They were global brands, teen idols, and queens of the industry. And Linda? She was their queen. Then the 2000s hit. The world changed. The supermodel era was fading. Reality TV stars, scandal-chasing models, and digital influencers were taking over. Linda was frozen in her old glory. Runways got smaller, magazine covers got younger, and Linda had one thing left: the impossible standard of beauty. That's where the battle began. The woman who'd looked flawless on every camera was now fighting a different battle in the mirror. Because for someone like her, aging was basically forbidden. By 2016, Linda vanished from the spotlight. No one knew where she was or why. Then came the post. Linda Evangelista admitted she was a victim of a cosmetic procedure gone wrong, cool sculpting, a fat-freezing treatment that backfired, leaving her physically unrecognizable. I became a recluse. I was ashamed. Her words. The face that once ruled fashion, now hidden. Curtains drawn for months. Going outside, a nightmare. Seeing a paparazzi or even a mirror, unthinkable. The media stopped saying her name. Brands went silent. The icon of an era became invisible. And maybe we all thought she wasn't allowed to age. Linda had to stay godlike. No wrinkles, no change, not human. But this time, she hadn't just lost to the industry, she'd lost to herself. In 2021, a single Instagram post dropped, and the entire fashion world went into shock. Linda Evangelista reappeared after 5 years. No Photoshop, no studio lights, just Linda and her truth. Before the industry erased me, I had already erased myself. The supermodel had basically ghosted her own life. But this wasn't just a confession. It was a manifesto. I'm done hiding. Whatever happened, happened. It felt like a slap to the face of the beauty industry. Yes, perfection broke, and I'm still here. But Linda's fight wasn't just about beauty. In 2018, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She underwent a double mastectomy. She thought it was over. But in 2022, the cancer came back, this time in her chest wall. Radiation, surgery, brutal treatments. So while the world was wondering why she had disappeared, Linda was actually fighting for her life. In 2023, she finally revealed it in Vanity Fair. For me, it was no longer about beauty. It was about survival.
Muscle, my pectoral muscle, and invasive. And what we need to remember is if you find something, the earlier you find it, the better. I just think everyone should test because it can save your life.
Soon after, she reappeared on the cover of British Vogue. But was it the flawless Linda of the past? No. This time, her face carried not just makeup, but her entire life story. The cover read only one word, Linda. But the subtext was loud and clear. I survived. And she didn't stop there. She closed the Fendi show in a Tiffany blue cape. The crowd stood on their feet. Then came the Met Gala. Fashion media went wild. The legend is back. Social media burned for weeks. Linda just gave a masterclass in comebacks. She wasn't just a supermodel anymore. She had become an iconic comeback story. Remember the line that defined her career? I don't get out of bed for less than $10,000 a day. Now, she wakes up for her own voice. Linda Evangelista's story isn't about beauty anymore. It's about survival. Perfection? That's yesterday. Unfiltered, brave, a little broken. That's the real icon. Because some women don't just make fashion history. Some of them rip out the pages and rewrite it. And that's the story of Linda Evangelista. Beauty, fame, disappearance, and the most glamorous comeback ever. If you're still here, congrats, you're now part of the secret fashion history club. Now, serious question. Would you get out of bed for less than $10K? Drop your answer in the comments, hit that like button, or one day you might find yourself in the middle of a runway with a spotlight over your head. This season, you're the star. And of course, subscribe so we can gasp at the next fashion scandal together. This is Model's Fable. We turn off the runway lights, but the fashion gossip never ends.